Good evening. My name is Vince Noblet. I'm president of the Speedway Town Council. Today is April 26, 2021. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. First off, call for attendance. Eileen Fisher.
Hello, President.
David Lindsay.
Good evening.
Vice President Gary Rakes.
Good evening.
And Gary Pettigo.
Good evening.
First off, let's go with a Presidential Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the April 12th meeting. These minutes have been distributed. If there's any changes or corrections, I will approve them as submitted. Hearing none, I'll approve the minutes as submitted. Next on the agenda is proclamation honoring Sandra Toana for 35 years of service with the Speedway Police Department. I've asked Councilor David Lindsay to read the proclamation.
All right, Marina, if you can step to the podium. Marina Toana Delport, Sandy's daughter, is here this evening to receive this honor. Whereas Sandy Toana and her husband George moved with her family to the town of Speedway in 1972. And whereas Sandy's children, Mike and Marina, attended Speedway schools and are proud graduates of Speedway High School, home of the Speedway Spark Plugs. And whereas Sandy was hired as the secretary for the police chief at the Speedway Police Department on June 3rd, 1985. After 35 years of dedicated service to the department, Sandy retired in December 2020. And whereas Sandy considered the Speedway Police Department to be her second family, Sandy enjoyed talking to members of the department about their lives, their families, and other topics of the day. Sandy always had a smile and kind words for everyone. And whereas Sandy had a historic perspective with her years of experience, but always stayed up to date on the management and operations of current day-to-day business. Sandy was responsible for handling invoices, billing, personal file management, salary and wage calculations, and budget preparation, just to name a few. Sandy was an integral and critical member of the chief's office and the department. And whereas the citizens of the town of Speedway and the Speedway Town Council wish to express their sincere gratitude and appreciation for Sandy's 35 years of service to the Speedway Police Department and to the town of Speedway, and a lifetime of commitment to our community, the state of Indiana, and the United States of America. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the Speedway Town Council does hereby proclaim the 26th day of April, 2021 as Sandra Toana Day in the town of Speedway, adopted this 26th day of April by the Speedway Town Council.
Fantastic.
Chief, can you come forward too, please?
Camera.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I may have had I want to thank the chief. I know how much of a part that Sandy was his staff, and he helped greatly with getting this put together, and I want to thank him for his part as well. So,
Absolutely. Chief, do you want to say a few words?
You know, other than what we've read, thank you. I mean, that sums it up.
Yeah, I mean, that many number of years of service and basically your right arm and getting the job done correctly. I mean, it's hard to find people with that type of dedication in a career-minded person that handles that kind of detail time and time again. And you know, there's not enough words to really state how important, you know, her work was to the town of Speedway and making this a better place to live.
Thank you.
I should tell you, we're going to plant 2 trees one in each of the parks.
Oh,
great.
great.
And
great.
then we've got a plaque, about the dedication of 35 years, so.
Wow, yeah.
Nice.
My mom is very sorry that she was not feeling well enough to be here to thank you all in person, but she wanted me to express her sincere appreciation and thanks to Chief and all the members of the department and all of you members of the town council. If she was here, she would say, I was just doing my job. I don't deserve this, but if her service to the town was half as hard a job as it was to raise my brother and I on her own, she definitely deserves it. So
Keeping an eye on me wasn't the easiest.
we're very proud of her, and we're even more blessed to call her mom. And thank you so much for honoring her. It means a
Yeah,
lot
it
to
was
all
a
of us.
pleasure.
I also would like to add, if I can, obviously I worked for the police department for 10 years, and I can say that it was always good to get a call from Sandy. It was never bad for me, but she always had that, Dave, it's Sandy from the chief's office. And it's always the same tone, always this great attitude, just a pleasure to be around. Just really can't thank her enough. And we honored Rod Ferguson a while ago. We're going to honor another officer. We honored Sandy with 35 years. We are losing a lot of experience from our police department, and they've been a great asset to the police department throughout all these years.
She
So,
always said that it was like a second family to her,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
thanks to you all for giving her such a wonderful place to work. She said she was very blessed to
Yeah.
have gotten that job.
That was
Very happy there.
so true. If you just, when you walked in the office and she'd be at her desk, I'm sure there were bad days, but you never knew it. And I don't know that I ever walked in there and didn't see her smile.
Yeah.
I think her smile really told it all about
That's my mom.
her. Yeah, yeah. So just so thankful to have had her all those years, and in my years on the council, just to have someone in the police department you go into, and she was a rock, and I'm sure that every police officer and every other employee within the police department, as well as other departments, sure the folks at the fire department and others would say the same thing. So be sure and tell her thank you. Hopefully she's watching at home tonight.
I
So
think they are.
great. Okay, so we'll say we'll say hi to her and say hi to Mike as well. So
I will.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
thanks for coming.
Okay, next on the agenda is consideration of professional services agreement with Paddle Creek Consulting. We have a,
Yeah, Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we approve the professional services agreement with Paddle Creek Consulting as presented.
I second.
got a motion and a second. We'll open it up for discussion.
We met with Paddle Creek last week. Gary Huff in particular, who is a 40-plus year local government professional, and after some dialogue with the council and in general, I'm very much in favor of utilizing their services. So I would like to add that we've been fortunate in some of our town manager hires to have a couple of final candidates that were very, very strong. But I would say in the last couple of rounds of recruiting, we were challenged by not necessarily having a long list of strong resumes and candidates. And one of the commitments from this company and the experienced person who's doing the search is that not only will they guarantee strong candidates, but even if we don't like those strong candidates, they'll do the search over, and even after we hire a town manager, that they would do the search again if that person left us within 12 months, or if we decided that person wasn't the right person within 12 months. So this is a fairly nominal cost for the level of services that we'll be getting for that.
So I attended that meeting as well that we had. I will have to say that I don't support spending this money on this service, as we've done the services for research of managers in the past. I believe that some of the purpose of us not having some of the qualified candidates are just due to the fact that maybe the way we have done advertising, or even some of the structure of what we've laid out in that position. So, and then the other piece of it is I just felt that he's fairly new in the consulting business. And so, however, I will say the one thing that was positive on his business side was the fact of if the candidate were to be hired and they left within a year, that would be, but I still do not support the spending of that money because there's more than the 9,000 if we go with other options as well too, so.
Okay.
The other options we had, what were the prices of those?
Triple the number.
Triple the number, and this is for 9,000, correct?
Yes.
But I see where it doesn't include expenses for third-party assessments, background investigations, advertising costs, printing, postage. So this is going to be above 9,000,
Potentially, yeah.
potentially. Okay, and I agree with Councilor Fisher. I've been through 3 town manager hirings, and I think we as a council have done fine in that process. And I think I think we all have spoken several times about how during these COVID times, we need to watch money that we're spending, be fiscally responsible. And I think by spending $9,000 plus for this process, I think is sending the wrong message to our residents and taxpayers that we're spending a wrong, or we're not being fiscally responsible with taxpayer money in doing this. So I also will be voting no on this.
Okay. Is there any other comment?
Yeah, I've given this a lot of thought over the last week or so since we met with Gary Huff. And since I joined the council last July, I listened to Councilor Lindsay, who was president of the council in 2020, say on numerous occasions that we want to go to the next level as the town, as a town, as an administration. This facility that we're sitting in this evening is a great example of the next level. Looking at the previous 3 hires for town manager, we lost one who step-stoned into a larger government position. The second one found a better fit for himself, who is now our clerk treasurer, and the third one didn't pan out. And so I think for a fee of $9,000, to me, that's a nominal number to spend to help us find the town manager that will, in fact, take us to the next level. We have at least 2 candidates that are already employees of the town who have expressed interest in the position. And I encourage both of those individuals and any other who might already be employed by the town to apply. At least one has already. And I think that's going to strengthen our objective to find the best person for the position. And if it turns out it's already an in-house candidate, then fantastic. Maybe hindsight would be 20/20, and I might think 6 months or a year from now, maybe we didn't need to spend the money. But don't have a crystal ball, so I'm going to vote in favor of this contract because I think I'd like to see what is out there. And to Councilor Fisher's point, yep, he's very new in the consulting business. But he's got 40 years of doing it. Knows all the right questions to ask. Knows all the proper what am I trying to say here? Associations, affiliations with government professionals. So I'm willing to take a shot I think it's a good investment. That's it.
Okay.
We've mentioned he's new. How many of these has he done prior to this?
One is Paddle Creek, is my understanding.
Yes.
Hundreds of hires as a previous town manager, city manager, and local government executive.
Is there any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2. Next on the agenda is we have an approval of request to close Main Street for Rockin' on Main. Tim, are you bringing that before the council?
Help you walk through all these
Yeah.
proposals.
Yeah, we got
Just-
one.
Just for note on the minutes, the item number 5, we're going to delay to
Yeah.
the next council meeting. And then as far as the approval request to close Main Street for Rockin' on Main on May 28th, Rockin' on Main has been a mainstay at Speedway for quite some time. Just like every event that we're dealing with now, including the events at the track, things are a little fluid at this moment as far as what's acceptable, not acceptable. So we want to keep moving forward. Just in case, we're going to hopefully have some more details here as well. But we're requesting that we close Main Street, similar to the layout for the Cinco de Mayo event. So basically from 16th Street to Gilman for this event, with the caveat that that will most likely change over the next couple of weeks as we firm up details. But we want to go ahead and kind of relay that that's potentially the closure at this time. And then as we get the next couple of weeks, as we firm up some details and we kind of see what other groups are doing and how they're handling things, we'll adjust accordingly.
Okay. Do I have a motion for approval of the Rocking on Main event?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the closing of Main Street for Rocking on Main, May 28th, 2021.
Okay, got a motion. Do I have a second?
My second.
The motion is second. Are there any other questions or concerns for Tim? You mentioned that this is going to be like Cinco de Mayo, and Cinco de Mayo is, they're going to have their haulers out on Main Street, and they're going to also have a lot of other restaurants and participants along Main Street for that event on May the 5th.
Yeah, there should be more information coming out because that event's coming up very quickly.
Right.
It's going to be a really nice event on Main Street. There's already a lot of excitement. So yes, Arrow, McLaren, SP will have their haulers out there. There will be some, one of their cars, or at least one of their show cars. A couple of the show cars will be out there. There's several community groups that will be doing various dances or activities. I know that Blue from the Colts will be out there. The restaurants are allowed during this event to expand their seating area outdoors into the street to allow for more people to be able to eat and have fun on Main Street. There will be live music, not only in the dedicated area. I know that Daredevil's planning on doing something as well. So it's just going to be a big street festival. We think there's a lot of activities and programming for that event, and we think it's going to be a great time, and we hope people have a good time. And it's kind of our kickoff to May and a celebration of everything May. So
Right. And we're still concerned about, having a COVID-friendly event so that
Correct.
we have to watch basically the large gatherings of individuals.
the purpose of the larger footprint is exactly that. Everything's spread out along Main this way. So there's plenty of activities, plenty of things for people to see and do, but it allows the restaurants to expand open air wise, and it allows the events and the different activations to have plenty of room. So we don't have groupings of large people in one particular area.
So how is that going to be controlled, though, Tim? Do you know? Back when the games were going on, down on Mass Ave. They had to close it down because of the fact of, too many people, and really the crowd wasn't controlled, I guess, per se, due to
Sure.
COVID, so who's controlling that and how's that being controlled? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I think, I think it's more so the activities of what we're having. There's no one particular spot where people are going to get. You might, when some of the dancers are going, are happening or something, you might get a small crowd, but they're able to back into the street. It's not in a confined area. You're able to have a more distant area so you can spread out more. There will be quite a bit of signage. We're actually getting that all prepared as well. So we'll do our best to control it. I mean, we have to ask that the people participating do their best to respect the other participants as well and the attendees. We'll have our masks out that you should try and wear a mask and social distance. And we'll try to provide plenty of room that people don't have to be crammed into one little small spot.
Right.
Yeah. Councilor Fisher brought up a good point. I think part of what I understood happened on the north end of Mass Ave was that one of the restaurants in particular, or one of the organizations in particular, didn't necessarily abide by the rules that were set up, the spacing that you described. And I think that's going to be important that we continue to communicate with the restaurants, other businesses on Main, because I think the real, one key reason for even doing this is to try and bring business to those restaurants that have struggled over the last year dealing with COVID, whether it's this event or the other events, and not necessarily trying to do everything we can not to bring other businesses to Speedway to profit in front of the other restaurants that we have and other businesses we have.
So you have a meeting with them through their association or whatever, is that?
Individual meetings.
With the restaurant owners and stuff?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. And everybody's excited and on board and gearing up. There's going to be a lot of specials, and several of the restaurants are making menu items that you can kind of grab and walk with as well. So there's going to be more and more information coming out as this event's coming up very quickly. So so stay tuned and keep an eye on the Speedway social media accounts, definitely.
Okay. So if there's no other discussion on the Rockin' on Main event, I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor of holding the Rockin' on Main event for May 28th, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Tim, the next event that's on here is item number 7, and that is deferred, or,
Yes, they've requested to push to the May 10th meeting.
and a lot of these delays are related to COVID and all the changes that are going on within events taking place around it.
There's just a lot of details to be worked out and unknowns at this time. So everybody's trying to do the right thing and make sure they have as much information as possible.
All right, and then next item on the agenda is the closure of, since we're moving on from 7, we're going to 8, approval of the Lions Club requests for the use of the Speedway Municipal Center lot for parking.
So historically, the Lions Club has partnered with PNC Bank to park this parking lot on race day to generate funds for the Speedway Lions Club. They have come to us. Obviously, the town is now the owner of this property, so they're requesting to continue that on. And, we can't think of a better partner. The Lions Club does so much for this community, gives so much money back. We obviously don't have the staff and resources to do anything here ourselves. And from the sounds of it, by the way of the parking, especially this year being outside of the track, we're going to be parked out here. So we recommend that we allow the Lions Club to handle the parking for the Speedway Municipal Center property this year.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the item number 9 on the agenda to, item number 8 on the agenda to allow the Lions Club to manage the parking at the Speedway Municipal Center parking lot on May 30th.
I'll second.
Get a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion concerning this?
We will work with them a little bit on the south side portion to make sure that police access is unrestricted and that the flow is a little bit different than it was with PNC, so we'll work those details with the Lions Club.
Okay, I'm sure you're going to, but can you be sure and check with the chief? I hope we don't have too many customers for them, but if they bring in some customers that need processed, they'll need access to get through the building and all that. So if you could, please be sure and check with them. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good idea, and also having Rob bring some barricades and things to make sure that, that we kind of direct everybody and keep everybody especially in a new building. And I say that we also should require portalets to be placed here so that nobody uses, wanting to come in and use our facilities. I think it'd be best. Okay, we got a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we call for a vote. All those in favor of allowing the Lions Club to use the lot for parking on the day of the race, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is approval of the Porsche Sprint Challenge, and that's been delayed too.
Yeah, this is an event that is being proposed by USAC, and we will bring this one back. The event isn't until October, so we have a little bit of time, but we'll try to bring this back at the next meeting.
Okay. And next on the list is item number 10, Ordinance 1340. Can you give us a rundown of that?
Yeah, so this is adding, so Tim Ramian, the current part-time executive assistant for the Speedway Redevelopment Commission / BZA / Town Council, is retiring at the end of June. We will dearly miss him. To replace him, it was agreed upon by the SRC and Town Council to replace that position. There's enough workload by far to make that a full-time executive assistant position, and we need to add that full-time executive assistant position to the salary ordinance that was approved for 2021. This ordinance does just that.
Yes.
Mr. President, I make a motion, we approve ordinance 1340 this evening.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion concerning Ordinance 1340?
I think it's important to Tim, if you can go back and tell Tim that he's being replaced with a full-time. He's so valuable to us.
Absolutely.
He lets us know that all the
I
time.
bet he does.
And he won't stay.
It's amazing, the accommodations, really, he was getting paid in accommodations because he moved from a terrible place on up here to, really a nice
He
place.
started at 1010 Main, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was unbelievable. But, okay, there's no other discussion on Ordinance 1340. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Ordinance 1340 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next on the agenda is approval of claims and utilities adjustments. These claims and adjustments have been submitted to the council previously. Town Clerk Treasurer is absent tonight.
Mr. President, I'll move that we approve the claims as presented by the clerk treasurer.
I will second that motion.
Got a motion and a second on the claims. Is there any discussion of the claims? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote of approval of the claims. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Would make one comment. I noticed that there are an awful lot of claims related to the parks, getting the parks ready for use in the spring and the summer, which is really great to see. So,
And Mr. President, I'll speed things along here.
Good.
I make a motion that we approve the utility adjustment as presented by our clerk treasurer this evening.
Got a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the adjustments? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the adjustments as presented by the town clerk treasurer signify by saying aye.
aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next is a report from counselors. We'll start off with Eileen Fisher.
I have nothing this evening.
Gary Pedigo.
She said exactly what I was going to say.
Okay. David
I have
Lindsay.
nothing.
Well, he said and she said exactly what I was gonna say. I have nothing to report this evening.
Our Vice President.
I
Gary
won't,
Riggs.
I won't pass the buck. I will stop for a second and just thank the businesses that we have in Speedway. We have, they've been weathering a long storm with COVID and doing their best to serve the public and serve their employees, and they're doing a good job. We've got a couple new businesses that are coming. Brazzini Pizzeria, we maybe even talked about that at a previous meeting, that's moving into the SIK building, taking over the space. It was 1911. They have a long relationship with Sarah and Andy, who own that business, and we're glad to see them come. There's a new art or a photography studio and some other craft art, I would describe it, that's just opened on Main Street on Friday, and we're excited for that to open. And there's other businesses interested in coming to Speedway. I think that says a lot about the work that our redevelopment commission has done. And I thank Tim, who's here in a number of capacities tonight. Thank him for the continued work he's done. So that's it.
Okay. Well, I'd like to basically, we had an event on Saturday. It was dumpster day.
Yep.
And we had 4 dumpsters that was placed out at the Old Town Hall. And we got tremendous participation by residents who helped us fill those dumpsters. We also, I want to commend the 5 students from Speedway High School, where we asked some of the athletes to help us in relationship to stacking and unloading cars. It made it very convenient for people to pull up. And we even had a couple individuals that pulled up, and they thought it was shredded day. And I said, no, we don't bring in dumpsters for that. But anyway, we definitely pulled away 4 dumpsters that would be sitting in somebody's backyard, somebody's basement, and I think that it's well worth the money to pay for those dumpsters to get rid of that out of people's houses and backyards. And they were very appreciative of the council allowing them, putting the dumpsters there for that. And I also appreciated the high school students helping out, believe me. I didn't want to unload all that stuff, but
I actually heard a few compliments from a neighbor about the students, and then Vince told me later that he treated them to a tour of the wastewater treatment facility to move some items from down there and bring them up for, and they couldn't believe how nice the wastewater treatment facility smelled. So
it was definitely an eye-opening experience for students in high school to understand what all town government and town has out there. But they worked hard, and they deserve a kudos from that standpoint. If there's nothing else to bring before the council tonight, I'm going to call at, what time is it? 7:33. Adjourned.